Good evening, everyone. Thanks for choosing us over the Nuggets game tonight. We feel very special. All right, so not only do we have an audience here, we're also live streaming tonight. So I don't know how many people are watching from afar, but welcome to everybody who's joining us tonight. This is our final concert of the season, and may the 4th be with you. What is a flute choir? That is the question and the theme of this evening's musical presentation. In my 20 or more years as the director of the Rocky Mountain Flute Choir, our audience members regularly ask us about the different flutes in the flute choir everywhere we go. When we play for church services, weddings, gigs, concerts, people are always really interested because it doesn't look too usual back there right now. Tonight, we will tell you what a flute choir is through our musical selections. We will feature some of the different flutes and show off some of the versatile sounds and techniques that these tubes of metal can create, or wood. Some of them might be wood. The first selection we will be performing for you was written by Melvin Loff Jr. of Ottawa, Ohio. Mr. Loff is a graduate of the U.S. Armed Forces School of Music, where he started as a trumpet player in the U.S. Army. Eventually, he switched to the flute and piccolo, which I personally think was a good choice. Welcome was his first published work and was performed at the Mid-Atlantic Flute Fair in 1997. Listen for the bright sounds of the flute and pay close attention to the fast-moving 16th notes as they flow from one part to the next. They're going to move all around. You should also be able to hear a little bit of a military march style in this piece. We're going to do a little moving around now. Many of you may remember Kathleen Main from last year, whose composition, Missing a Friend, was premiered here a year ago in memory of our piccoloist, Debbie Freeland. Anybody in the audience who was here for last year's concert? Well, we're gonna play another one of her compositions. I first met Katie at the National Flute Association convention, where she was selling her compositions. I bought a few of her pieces and then realized, oh, we already have What is a Flute Choir in our library. We should perform this. It turns out that she had written this for her own flute choir and the Jewel City Flute Choir in 2014. She knew that many audience members would not know what a flute choir is. Sit back and enjoy listening to Katie's clever explanation of a flute choir. Our co-director, Camille Riggenberg, will be conducting, and I'm going to do my very best to narrate this. And I might need some water before we start. What is a flute choir? What is a flute choir? There are many flutes in one family, and they all get together and play. The piccolo is the smallest one, and Shirley is the highest one. But did you know? Did you know? Did you know it? Shirley is the loudest. On the other end of the flute family is the bass, 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 low bass flute. The bass flute takes a lot of air and cannot play fast. Alto, G, flute. Alto, G, flute. The alto flute is the gem of the group. Low enough for fun, but can surely skip and run. The alto flute has such a lovely range and is the glue that holds the choir together. The flute. Well, to be precise, it's the C flute because it plays in C, unlike the alto, which only reads in G, 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 G. It starts at middle C and goes way up beyond high G. Woo! It's the most versatile flute. With its tremolos and trills. But if you want to know a little secret, the C flute can play lower from C to B with the B foot extension. And that is a C flute. The grandparent of all flutes, the newest member of the flute family, is the super duper low contrabass flute. They don't get to play as many notes as the others, but boy, do they have such fun with those low notes. So that is a flute choir.
I'm going to switch things around a little bit so Shaw can go play and I can go talk. Okay, our next song is Contra Songs, which was written by Catherine McMichael, one of the most prolific writers of flute choir music. This piece features the contrabass flutes, along with the bass, alto, and C flutes. It was commissioned by Dr. Ruth Maurer and dedicated to the Western Colorado Flute Club. Flute choir, sorry. Dr. Maurer wanted the theme to be centered on the plains and landscapes of Western Colorado. But one comment from Dr. Maurer resonated with Catherine, that it should be a love song. A love song became the starting point for Contra Songs. The section called Work starts with the traditional call response that one associates with soldiers, laborers, and prisoners the world over. It turns into classic blues midway through the piece. Love is a continuous melody that exploits the entire range of the contrabass, using it as a solo voice and also as the bass to some beautiful harmonies. And the last one, Play, challenges the lungs of the contrabass players with quick, lively notes full of accents and articulations. It's a game of tag between the low flutes and the upper flutes. Please enjoy Contra Songs.
Sorry. I should have planned that differently. Okay. All right, we're going to come back to more comfortable listening for the ears. That one was a little bit of a modern piece, right? It was kind of stretching us a little bit. The next piece we're going to play is called Italian Street Song. It was written by Victor Herbert and Rita Johnson Youngs in 1910. Is anybody familiar with this tune? The song was written for and introduced in the operetta called Naughty Marietta, which originally opened in Syracuse, New York on October 24th, 1910. Since 1935, the song has been most closely associated with Jeanette MacDonald, who played the lead role of Marietta in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer film version of the operetta that was released in that year. I added this to our program so that you could hear some of the light, lilting, melodic effects of the C flutes. So this is going to be only C flutes, no contrabass or bass or alto flute. We have some special guests joining the stage. And we might have had your name wrong in the program. Okay.
Marilyn Johnson.
From the Colorado Jazz Workshop. Thank you, Marilyn. And then we also have Chris, Dave, Jeff. And they're going to make this really fun next. And I bet some of you know the song Take 5. It's really common, but I think we have to tune first. So before I talk, we better tune. That's why we're tuning. Maybe one more A, Marilyn. Much better. So you see, it's very important that we tune to the piano whenever we're playing with the piano. And you heard why. So take 5 is a jazz standard composed by Paul Desmond and arranged by Dave Brubeck. During an 1858 Eurasia trip, Dave Brubeck was inspired to create an album based on odd time signatures. The track was written after the quartet's drummer, thanks drummers, requested a song in quintuplet meter. That would be 5/4. Paul Desmond composed the melodies while Brubeck arranged the song. The track's name, Take 5, is derived from its meter. So you'll see me wave a little extra beat up here that I don't normally do. The track was released as a promotional single in September of 1959, but would not achieve commercial success until 1961. It went on to become the biggest-selling jazz single of all time. Many thanks to the members of the Colorado Jazz Workshop. My brain turns off sometimes. The Colorado Jazz Workshop for playing with us tonight. Thank you. All right, so you're gonna have fun. And after this, we're gonna take a quick little intermission, like maybe about 10 minutes before we do that second half of the performance. That was a fun way to end the first half, don't you think? So, well, jazz on out of here, take a little break. We'll come back in I think it's a little after 7, right? 7:30, so 7:40. Sound good? Okay. See you soon. Welcome back. 10 minutes might not have been quite enough, huh? All right. So, you're in for a treat. Welcome back to the second half of tonight's performance. Our next piece, Mimics, features, what instrument do you think? Any guesses? Did you hear us tuning up here? What do you think? Contrabass. Not the contrabass. The polar opposite of the contrabass, the piccolo. So, I recommend that if anyone in the audience is wearing a hearing device, that you may want to turn it down or off for this one. Seriously. Because there's going to be 7 piccolos up here playing. And it might even affect some of you at home. You'll have to email us later and tell us. So composer Nicole Chamberlain was inspired to write Mimics after spending some time practicing her piccolo with her windows open. She felt that the birds would sometimes respond back to her piccolo. Mimics uses calls from the eastern towhee, the tufted titmouse, and the brown-headed nuthatch. So Leslie, who's out here, who goes birding, she's gonna have to tell us if we sound like them. No, they're not. Okay. Well, any of you from afar, if you've heard the eastern towhee, the tufted titmouse, and the brown-headed nuthatch, let us know if we sound like them. And then I think we're good. We're gonna go ahead and start. who's gonna go birding now? I see some hands. That's nice. Okay, so who drinks coffee? Most of us, right? I heard it. I saw a hand way back there, Brian. Yes, coffee. So you will really get a jolt from Coffee Nerves, written by Gary Shocker. Shocking. That seems, I didn't even think of that when I wrote this. Gary Shocker, he's well known for using a lot of extended techniques in his compositions. He composes a ton for flute choir, and usually his pieces are incredibly difficult, so this is one of the easier pieces. Listen to the flutter tonguing that will make you feel that caffeine buzz. It will surely make you feel like you just had a triple shot espresso from Starbucks. Oh, and I can't forget that the Colorado Jazz Workshop is joining us. And they didn't have music for this, so they're just jamming with us. Super impressive. I need a Starbucks now. Thank you so much. You were awesome. Coffee Nerves was not quite as exciting until we got the rhythm band here. So we're going to bring things down a little bit now with a piece called Way Off Bass. This is a fun, jazzy tune, and it highlights some common flute techniques like glissandos, any musicians, you might know what that is, grace notes, and more flutter tonguing. We have flutter tongued more tonight than probably most of the flutists here have in their whole lives. So just a little tidbit there. Does anybody know what a transverse flute is? They forgot what they were supposed to do. I think they're getting tired. We finished tonight with the composition Transverses. It is made up of 4 short pieces for transverse flute, with each movement introduced by a flute-related poem, hence the title Transverses. Kind of funny, huh? A quick synopsis. Dizzy jig is what you get when an Irish piper has vertigo. This is a simple, bright jig overwhelmed by chromatic dizziness. Lip gloss, besides something you put on your lips, is a challenge for limber embouchures. The pulsing extremes in dynamics and the expansive octaves in the melody showcase the flutist's ability to produce stunning tonal effects. Catwalk in syrup. If any of you have cats and can imagine your cat walking in syrup, you'll get this. This is a bluesy little number with a humorous lament to a common flute annoyance. What would be the annoyance? Sticky pads. Sticky pads. So listen for the key pops that the flutes are going to be doing. Those are reminders of the noise the pads make when moisture gets in them. And it's very annoying when you're playing and you can hear it right there, even though probably none of you can hear it. Quicksilver has quick, darting, sinuous runs that weave in and out of this piece. It showcases the nimble fingers one needs to play fast notes.
The first one is Dizzy Jig. There was a leprechaun who always danced and played his flute in the hallways. His tone didn't please, but when he would sneeze, his high notes were just like James Galway's. He whirled and he twirled and he spun so many turns he had done that he was so dizzy and in a great tizzy, for his jig was over before it had begun. Lip gloss. There is nothing so lovely or with such an allure as a perfectly formed flute embouchure. Your lips should clamp down, said my friend with a frown. A clarinetist who actually disagreed. But I would contend that the sound that I send is better, and I don't need a reed. Catwalk in syrup. Egad, sticky pants! Quicksilver. The gods of embarrassment always humble me whenever I play the flight of the bumblebee. And I try to be oh so careful when playing Mendelssohn's Scherzo. I flail and I fail, and the question pops into my head. My flute is made of silver. Why are my fingers made of lead?
Thank you all so much for spending the evening with us in person and from afar. Thank you for joining us. Special thanks to the Colorado Jazz Workshop. Woo! We hope you play again with us next year. My plan is next spring, so put it on your calendars. I already have you booked, and I didn't even ask you. Just kidding. I mean, sort of. Kidding. Thank you to the First Plymouth Congregational Church for sharing your space with us for as long as I've been in this group, so over 20 years, 25 years maybe. Super special thanks. And to Brian Lestrella in the back. He made this live streaming happen, this microphone happen, the stage happen. Pretty much he made everything happen. So thank you, Brian. And please join us after this little surprise we might have for refreshments next door. We hope you leave tonight knowing more about a flute choir. You can share, you spread the word, tell people to come join us. And may the 4th be with you.